where he paraded the provisional clearance.
Yes. Okay, now for the provisional clearance,
yes, was an appeal. So upon the strength of that first clearance, he says,
provisional clearance.
I've been provisionally cleared.
I think on several situations we have been discussing this issue of provisional clearance. The word provisional should be defined properly so that we understand it, so that the public understands it. Provisional means conditional. That means that you still need one or two conditions to meet up with so as you get the final clearance. When we were taking JAMB, we had provisional letters of admission, which does not mean that you are admitted. With that provisional letter of admission, you go to the university and you show your GC results. And if your GC results correspond with what they want, you are given the admission. But if it doesn't, you are rejected. So that provisional admission letter does not give you the power to say that you must be admitted. The same vein, provisional clearance does not even give Silva the power to say that he has been cleared, especially where the party within its internal structure has mapped out structures, procedures for nomination of parties, for nomination of persons into elective positions. They have said that after that level of screening, there's an appeal level. After the appeal level, there's the National Working Committee level. And again, through the PDP Constitution, there's the NEC level, the NEC level, the National Executive Committee level. These are procedures that Silva ought to have followed so as to come out clear and clean as to be the party's one of the candidates to contest the election.
Well, speaking in legal terms, we haven't totally exhausted that because someone would still say that if truly the PDP wasn't convinced or was convinced that there was no clear injunction holding it back from conducting the primaries, someone would ask, why did they go ahead to submit a written an affidavit, as it were, written by the National Legal Advisor, Chief Olushola seeking or asking that the second defendant has filed, saying that he filed a 15-paragraph affidavit showing cause why the orders sought should not be made, principle of which is lack of jurisdiction.
That is a clear indication that PDP obeyed the court order. By having filed something, that was what the court ordered, that PDP must respond within 72 hours.
And they have so responded. Why the prayers of Silva should not be granted is not you're telling the court that you don't even have the power to ask me that question.
That is one of the processes of law. For a court to assume jurisdiction, for a court to hear your matter, the court must show that it has jurisdiction. So a party is entitled at any stage of the proceedings to come before the court and say, my lord, you don't have jurisdiction to hear this matter for one reason or the other. My lord, you check it. The court is under compulsion to first treat that issue of jurisdiction before even opening the door to look into the substance of the case. So PDP has rightly obeyed the order of the court by filing something.
But knowing clearly that the chances of the primaries that you've conducted with so much money, with so much arrangement, look at the security that was.
You are saying your primaries. It's not my primaries.
I'm talking, figuratively now, as it were. Knowing that the chances that it will be annulled or nullified, are there, why would you still go ahead and do something?
In Igbo language, we say, Anahasogun. The interpretation means that you do not because you will be killed at the war front, you refuse to go to war. The fact that the process may be nullified does not mean you shouldn't you should go ahead with the process if in your interpretation is lawful. I don't know if I'm making a point.
Well, anyway, another point.
For now, the processes are lawful. They are legal. They are not wrongful until the court declares otherwise.
Now let's look at that the delegates, for instance. Now, some other people are arguing that a majority of the delegates didn't partake in that particular primaries. For instance, all the members of the State House of Assembly, they didn't take part in that primaries. Can we then now say it was...
Yes. Statutorily speaking, I think there are about 95 ad hoc delegates and about 311... I think 311 ad hoc delegates and 95 statutory delegates. Now, from the information we have, from the information available in the open space, about 59 statutory delegates participated and about 200 and something ad hoc delegates participated. So this other group that didn't participate, and maybe they didn't have confidence in themselves, in the candidates they want to support winning, and so they stayed away. There's no law that stops anybody from staying away from a process. If you stay away from a process, you are deemed to have given in, consented to the outcome of the process. Once a quorum for the process has been formed.
What if INEC comes up tomorrow and say, well, I'm afraid we didn't monitor these proceedings, so
INEC has no such powers. With due respect to that, the Electoral Act did not give INEC that power.
So they cannot invalidate.
They cannot. It's only a court order that can invalidate that process. INEC has no power to invalidate that process.
What about those people who try to bring the River State Amechi case into all of this? So what's the difference, if there is all similarities between that case and this particular one we see?
No, there are no much similarities. Bringing Rotimi Amechi's case into this is just one part of, should I say, 100 other parts, in the sense that people are afraid that if Silva doesn't rush to court, as it were, that things may happen that may deprive him of the seat of governor, of being the governor of Lagos, of Bayelsa State. But we say that people like Amechi were also in similar situations, and eventually they were reinstated by the Supreme Court. So Silva has no fear. In fact, he has no reason. There was no reason for him to have rushed to court, because he had not exhausted the internal procedures that PDP had put in place.
How do you mean internal procedures?
Yes, I have a copy of the Constitution presently. I went into research to get PDP Constitution, and I have seen that the INEC, the National Executive Committee of PDP, ought to have been brought into the picture to arbitrate, to decide whether or not there were infractions of.
But again, we spoke to Nathan Egba, that was last week, and we asked all of these questions. Until this very moment, the PDP has shut its doors, its ears to the governor. So
I doubt that is a one-sided information, gentlemen.
No, but even the papers, they're saying that he's asking as a governor, what did I do wrong?
No, but what if you were a NEC, if you were a PDP NEC member? What would you go back and start listening to him when you have seen that he has rushed to court? You will really not be sub judice, questioning the integrity of the court when perhaps the decision that you may reach may even go be.
Let me read this question to you. It comes from I think McCheesy tweet. He says, "Well, we should ask you, in party primaries, then who is to be the umpire? Is the party delegate? Is it the party delegates or INEC?"
The umpire is the party. The umpire is the party. INEC is just an observer. INEC is an observer. INEC reports. INEC goes there to observe, to ensure that the processes are well managed and well conducted. It is the parties themselves that conduct primaries. They themselves are the arbiters.
Looking at this in a democratic setting, would you say that this process has been clear and democratic from all that you've seen?
Well, in the general Nigerian sense, we have issues with the democracy. However, as far as we can use that as our index situation, I think that the processes that PDP has followed quite clearly follow, at least to a very, very large extent, the needs of democracy. Yes, I think.
What process would that be? Because if you look at
the process of nomination, a party rolls out its rules and regulations as to how candidates shall emerge. Candidates are bound to follow those rules and regulations to emerge. Am I following you? That is democracy. When parties roll it out,
when aren't they supposed to have clear-cut reasons? I mean, isn't it a bit odd that the governor has been excluded, as it were, from this, and he doesn't even know the reason he's been excluded?
You are saying you don't. There's no clear-cut reason. If there will be need for PDP to make it open, they will make it open. But there are some snippets of information available in the open space, security information. We have security issues. We have had even Silva reacting that there have been tapes about treasonable felony being circulated about him. That is a rumor. And if you have such an information as a rumor, maybe you can start thinking possibly there were security issues involving Silva that will warrant his being looked at as a security risk. And if that be the case, well, you can't be a governor and become a security risk to the same country, to the same nation that you are meant to protect his constitution.
That those who say, well, the court has not found him guilty of anything, so they cannot judge on that. But I guess that's a different case.
In terms of the court finding him guilty, the time for the court to look for him has not come. What has just happened is that the party has done its best to ensure that it does not go beyond them to control. Because once it gets to the primary stage, it has gone beyond the party to control.
Okay, we'll let it go here. The other a whole lot of matters, but it's not a politician who would have put those questions forward. But thank you for coming on.
Yes, I just want to show us, ask us the question of closing down of schools in Bayelsa State. What you guys may wish to say about it.
Yeah.
Yes, we saw that
we should be asking you that.
I just want to
any legal twist to it.
Well, you want to ask the question. There has been issues of security in the past, and we heard that there were enough security in these past few weeks in Bayelsa State, and suddenly the schools are being closed. The question is, why close schools?